Alrighty guys, we're back for board clear control, and this is an Outlaws of Thunder Junction standard brew, and I'm Red Cat. Let's briefly go over the deck, then hop right into some ranked. But first things first, this was a suggestion over in the Discord, so thank you so much for the suggestion. It's gonna be a fun one. We gotta do some rearranging for this one, because the whole concept of the deck and the whole suggestion was essentially to have that -3 Discover 4 on Quintorius be a guaranteed board wipe. So what we're going to be hitting with that -3 on Quintorius is either Depopulate or No Witnesses. So how do we pull that off? Well, we pull that off with a bunch of adventure things like Virtue of Loyalty, having that Ardenvale Fealty. It's just 2 mana, get a 2/2, a Knight with Vigilance, pretty cool. We have Virtue of Courage as well, with that adventure side dealing 2 damage to any target for just 2 as well. Nice, beautiful. Our prototype cards too, like Steel Seraph being a 6 mana card, but the prototype is only 3 mana. Nice. Same concept with Combat Thresher. This is one that we don't see as much as Steel Seraph. Now, when this ETBs, you draw a card, and it also has Double Strike. Now, the prototype, it is only a 1/1, but still, a 1/1 Double Strike that draws you a card when it ETBs is not half bad for 3 mana, so that is pretty cool. We have a couple Eternal Wanderers here on the top end just for even more board wipes, right? We have a Chandra Hope's Beacon too, because why not, right? And then Trumpeting Carnosaur also making the cut because it has that channel ability. It's not called channel, but it's essentially, yeah, channel. But for 2 and a red, you discard this. It deals 3 damage to target creature or a planeswalker. So extra removal here in the 3 mana spot as well. Also opting for a Mightstone and Weakstone here. A way to restock our hand could be good, but then also using this as ramp into like our Steel Seraph or Combat Thresher just wouldn't be a bad thing at all, huh? Now over in the mana base, we do have a couple Seat of the Empires, a Hidden Courtyard for the Discover 4 ability. Again, that is always going to hit a board wipe between Depopulate and No Witnesses. Same concept with Hidden Volcano. The bottom ability is Discover 4. Crucible Defiance, a bunch of dual land, including 4 Restless Bivouac, since we're wiping the board so much. These Restless lands should come in handy. For Sundown Pass, we got Demolition Field making the cut, as well as a couple Sunken Citadels, which of course helps us power up those Restless Bivouacs, as well as activating like the Discover abilities on the Volcano and the Hidden Courtyard too. Okay, guys, some honorable mentions over here. Autonomous Assembler almost made the cut. More board wipes like Farewell on the top end almost made the cut, as well as Hearth Elemental too. All right, let's go ahead, take this into some ranked and see how we do. All right, what am I expecting from the build? I have no idea. Should be good. I think so. I think there's a lot of decks where we just always want to see a board wipe anyways, and having like the Quintorius find us extra ones and whatnot seems really cool. After the board wipes too, there's going to be a whole bunch of ways to reestablish our board by just like generating tokens off Quintorius and all that other fun stuff too, so... All right, we do have a turn 2 with Virtue of Loyalty. It's also a lot of little synergies and stuff that I didn't go over there at the beginning, but that's why we've been trying to save the more in-depth discussions for the end of the video as well. Well, something tells me Generous Visitor is going to get above our blocker here, unfortunately, but you never know. We might be able to... Opponent... Well, I guess I'll put that one down as a sample hand. If I remember, of course. That kind of sucks, man. I guess they missed mana. I don't know. I have no idea. Maybe they didn't like that we just held our mana open. I have no clue, man, what the concede was for. All right, now we get into the actual first game. I actually really did enjoy that hand, though. Against Selesnya Enchantments, I think our board wipes were going to be extra devastating against them. Yeah, board wipes tend to do all right against Selesnya Enchantments. So we might have had a really good chance of winning anyways. I would call this hand worse. But I also don't think it's a mulligan too. Like, there's always, like, these hands that are, like, middle of the road, and if you consider a mulligan, sometimes it just gets much worse, only now you're only going to have 6 cards, you know? 26 total land. Luckily, we do have some utility in our hand. Shigeki. Thinking Thresher for the draw. I'll get the Demolition Field down now. Still got double white. We could play one of the seats. Ill-timed explosion there in the opponent's hand. It's probably just going to be Combat Thresher. So let's get the Demolition Field down. Keep that prototype down. And Restless Bivouac. Okay. Yeah, hopefully we don't see mana for the next few turns then. Pretty much drawing anything else would be better. Okay, Virtue brings back the Nissa. Come on, play the Nissa. Nope, they're holding it for now. Virtue of Courage. At that point, I can take 1 damage and get the Steel Seraph down. I'm pretty sure no more witnesses is going to happen in no time. Let's swing and see what happens. It might block with Shigeki. Or they might take the 2. I think we cheese the 2 through. With the block, I think we'll go ahead. Excuse me, guys. Well, first we'll let the first strike damage go through, and then we'll use the Virtue. Oh, they're just going to activate the ability. Oh, that's why they kept it open. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. Go a worthwhile swing, because you never know when you're going to cheese that through. So then for the turn, I suppose we'll go Restless Bivouac. Right. Just to get the tapped land down now. Keeping the Virtue open wouldn't be bad. It doesn't hit anything over there right now. That Nissa in their hand is going to be terrifying. Either way, we want to make sure we wipe the board next turn, so I don't want to play Steel Seraph right now. Alright, Nissa comes down. Hopefully they dump the Shigeki on the board too. We do have Demolition Field. I guess we could activate before they sacrifice the courtyard, right? I believe that would work. But probably not worth it either. Oh, they find the Analyst, which they probably want to save for next turn if they just plan on using the ability. Right? And they're really stocked in the graveyard. To have that Analyst to do a thing with that Nissa. Oh, they're going to play it this turn. Let's see if they play the Shigeki too. This could be really, really good for us. If we can hit 4 creatures. No, they're going to hold it back. I am going to poke the opponent's face with the Embereth Blaze. Oh, we got to take 1? Yeah, whatever. I'll take the 1. Hopefully we don't lose because of that 1. Okay, 5th mana comes down for the turn. We still have all of our utility here. We could start with the swing again. We could have kept the Virtue. Either way, I was planning on the No More Witnesses. And they are going to investigate, unfortunately. Yeah, I mean, it's worth the swing because you never know if we get to cheese this through. We have, like, Seat of the Empire if we wanted to, but we don't want to. We're just going to drop the No More Witnesses. Funny enough, because they get to investigate, they did keep 2 open to go ahead and draw. This is still worthwhile, though, right? I believe so. So they get the draw on the clue this turn. Definitely going to want to see a little bit more here off the top. Yeah. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 1 Seat of the Empire just to use. They do have Virtue of Strength. Oh, they do not play the Virtue of Strength, though. They go for Aftermath Analyst. Maybe activate it? No. Okay. Trumpeting Carnosaur is pretty good. Play one of the seats. Do we just play Trumpeting Carnosaur and discover 5? That's probably pretty good. They still have ill-timed explosion over there, by the way. Still taking a little bit of damage from our pain lands. All right, Virtue of Loyalty. Probably just get it down as an enchantment, right? Even though more creatures would be good. It's like actually getting it down as a 5 mana thing seems even better. Okay, here it comes, guys. The onslaught of lands. At that point, they gotta be running out of basics, right? They gotta be running low on basics here soon. Let's see how many they have on the board right now. 1, 2, 5, 6, 7, 10. Oh, I guess they're still in the clear. They probably have like what, 16 basic lands. Oh, buddy. So I guess we could guide next turn. Being at 18, they go Virtue of Strength for 7, and they'll still have what? A lot. I guess we could die here. Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, Virtue of Strength, and then World Soul's Rage for max. Oh, it's gonna be Memory Deluge. Find the World Soul's Rage. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and each one taps for 3. Oh, ill-timed explosion. Let's see if they kill our Carnosaur. Yeah, the extra draws off of this is terrific. It is going to be 7 damage from the second Virtue of Strength, unfortunately. All right, we get to reestablish our board state a little bit, but now that Virtue of Strength is on this board, I don't know how we're going to get around this. Like, as soon as they see their World Soul's Rage, which, by the way, they only have 17 cards remaining in their deck, so at any point, it's going to be World Soul's Rage. At any point here. Wait a minute. Yeah, they haven't even... Okay, World Soul's Rage for 13. Grab the lands. Get the rest of the basics out of their deck. And then it'll be World Soul's Rage number 2 when they're ready. They're gaining a ton of life here, dude. Holy cow. Was there a faster way through this game? I'm not so sure. Teamer, when it actually does the thing, Teamer Ramp really just does it beautifully. Very effective. They got a doppelgang in there. Cool. Yeah, we'll play it out because there's a chance that they don't have another World Soul's Rage in hand. And it does look like they have all the basics on the board. So this is just a whole bunch of life gain at that point. So we have Virtue of Courage. That's not doing too much here. We'll probably start with the draw on the Thresher, I would say. Right? We still have, okay, Virtue of Loyalty. Probably just like Steel Seraph. I was gonna say we could play. Oh no, we can't actually. Yeah, Bivouac will come out tapped for the turn. We'll play the Steel Seraph just for the 3. And then both of these also get a counter. I'm pretty sure we're dead though. Yeah, so reestablishing the board a little bit of a flood early on there too, but not too bad, as we didn't end up drawing more land after the flood. And a lot of the land that we did end up seeing was utility. We just didn't end up using any of the utility, unfortunately. I guess if it is a World Soul's Rage, they want to max it out just for fun, right? They have 17 land on the board. It would be X's 45 with their Virtue of Strength. Right? I believe so. Or wait. Right? Oh, Shigeki. Oh, yeah. Grab the worlds. Oh, yeah. Dude, we knew they had the Shigeki too, right? I wasn't even thinking about that. Shigeki's one of those cards where it feels... Oh, they didn't max it out either. Good game, opponent. Yeah, Shigeki's one of those cards where it feels underplayed when you think about it. I guess it kind of is to an extent. I always kind of forget what it does too, and then sometimes I forget right here. Where is it? Return X target non-legendary cards. There's totally moments where it's like, oh yeah, they could pick up their Nissa from the grave, but no, that is legendary in fact. But the Shigeki is definitely in there to grab the key pieces like World Soul's Rage back and whatnot too. All right, we'll see if we can get right into the next one. See if we can get against a deck that actually cares that we're wiping the board a little more, right? Like we wiped 3 creatures, but that deck did not care at all. The concept of this list is actually just really neat though, and I think Quintorius is just such a powerful planeswalker too that by the time you do get 5 mana down, it is a very decent threat. Opponent goes first, 2 land. This is very, very slow. I think we got a mulligan, unfortunately, guys. There we go. Early removal, Chandra, nice. All right, we'll keep this, and I don't want to lose the Chandra, but it's the only card that's too far away right now. Yeah, because we're probably going to need the double removal since the opponent goes first, too. All right, we'll start with the plains. Mosswood Dread Knight. All right. No witnesses. Well, Dread Knight's a particularly rough card to hit with spot removal. Because they'll just go ahead, like as soon as we kill it, they'll just go ahead and... Glissa also gets around the 2 damage. Do we hit 2 damage to their face for fun? Yeah, what the heck. I guess you never know, right? Okay, Battlefield Forge. All right. The Glissa's going to come through. Glissa hits enchantments, luckily. This would be incredibly broken if that's a destroy target enchantment or artifact and enchantment, right? Like, yeah, that would be terrifying, dude. It's already a really good card. No witnesses is ready, but we want to wait until they have, you know, Shieldred, Obliterator, everything on the board for the no witnesses. Oh, Virtue. Okay, that's one way to get around the go for the throat, huh? Red Knight comes down to populate. All right. Doubling down. They get a draw on Depopulate or clue on the witnesses. So clue on the witnesses is better because, yeah, we might get it to where the Depopulate doesn't draw them the card, and we'd rather them actually spend mana on the clue. Mana off the top would be good. Okay, they activate Dread Knight. They probably just play the Dread Knight at that point too. It's going to be Sunslayer number 2. All right. Hopefully we draw a land. I think that was a good draw, but we definitely want to see a land here. Okay. Well, 26 mana. I don't think we want to talk about 27 just yet. In the meantime, I'm going to throw my horsey a little apple. And the opponent's horsey, too, of course. There you go, little buddy. Lost with Dread Knight again. Okay, maybe land and then play them both. It's a pretty good wipe, but like the Dread Knight just consistently coming back is particularly brutal. I go for the swing, and I'm wondering about the chump here. If we saw the land, we would have had Virtue as well. I'll chump. Yeah, since I plan on wiping the board anyways, especially if it's like Shieldred or something, I think that 2-for-1 would definitely be worthwhile. They do draw on the Sunslayer though, since it's multicolored. Okay, they're gonna hold the other one back now that they know we're rocking board wipes. There's the land, guys. Probably Mightstone, Weakstone. -5 on Sunslayer. Still taking a good amount of damage, though. Drawing off the Mightstone Weakstone could be really good, too. No, let's just take care of the Sunslayer. Luckily, like, we haven't taken too much damage so far. They do have the draw on the clue here, too. And now, when we see more of our Steel Seraphs and Combat Threshers, we have terrific ramp for it. And Mightstone Weakstone is one of those 5-mana cards that you don't mind hitting off of, like, the Trumpeting Carnosaur, too, you know? Hitting that off of Carnosaur is actually really good. Giving you a... What on earth? The Inner Sun lands on this board. Danger? We're in danger? Ooh, Thresher. Okay, well, I guess 7-mana Thresher. It is a 3/3 double strike, and it replaces itself, and we could see mana. We wouldn't mind playing more mana. It is a Bivouac, actually. Nice. Not bad. I have no idea how we're going to get around this Inner Sun. This is going to generate so much value for them, guys. It's not even funny. The end. Oh, no. Not the end. Our poor Combat Thresher. Honestly, like, more Combat Threshers off the top would have been pretty good. I'd say that is a terrific target for the opponent. Yeah, now that the Mightstone Weakstone was on the board, yeah, I think that double strike was going to go a long way, too. They now know it's in hand to play around the Depopulate as much as possible, too. Let's see what they see with the Tiny Bones. Oh, it's our graveyard, right? Wait, you make cast target non-land permanent card from that player's graveyard. Okay. Yeah, that's probably scary. Discover 5. It is an honest Rutstein. Dude, we're in trouble, huh? Like, we wipe the board and they just immediately reestablish this board state next turn, like, no matter what. Like, they can go Dread Knight, and then at the end they discover 5. That's going to be really, really hard to get around. Chandra. Hi. What are you doing here, Chandra? Okay. So, not a bad draw. Any of our top-end Planeswalkers is going to be pretty decent. So we have, like, the copying of instants and sorceries on the Chandra, which could be pretty good. We could go +2. We could pop a couple things with the Virtue of Courage, then. +2. We could get a couple creatures down. No, probably not. Chandra's good, but is probably still going to be in danger here, right? Yeah, we'll go for Virtue of Courage. Creature spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. So Dread Knight is going to be recast 2. So it's Honest Rutstein and probably Tiny Bones, since it's going to be dealing damage too. Dread Knight probably swings at the Chandra. I think it's these two. Also, they brought the Glissa something back with the Honest Rutstein too. Dude, this is going to be a really tough uphill battle. I don't even know where to begin, right? This is where, like, Sunfall in the deck would come into play, because actually exiling a lot of this would be really good. Virtue of Persistence, they got to swing at that Chandra. Even though we're at 10, yeah, keeping that low. Ancient Cornucopia. Cast a spell that's 1 or more colors. You gain 1 life for each of that spell's colors. Do this only once each turn. That's pretty cool. Okay. So, got to think about the non-combat damage to an opponent, too, if we wanted to do the bottom thing on Chandra. Probably not, though, I would say. There's a lot to think about, huh? We will call red on the Sunken Citadel. That's totally fine. We'll go +2 on the Chandra again, only this time we're getting some chump blockers down. Yeah, we're in so much danger, but we gotta play this out, man. For sure. And then one... Okay. Yeah, Mightstone, Weakstone doesn't help us cast any of these things. Only the artifacts in the build. That's still really neat, though. Chandra was just a terrific top deck. So at that point, they might want to... Like, the Steel Seraph should be pretty tempting. Yeah, they do end up grabbing the Steel Seraph. It is a 5/4 as they get around the prototype here just by reanimating it. 5/4 in the air. If we can keep Chandra around for the turn, we do have like the -4, but every time something hits the grave, they're just gonna have Virtue of Persistence to bring it back. We have to figure out a really good way to deal 14 damage to the opponent. So maybe if we go... Oh, Skyfisher. That's not good, guys. That hits non-land permanents, doesn't it? It does. Oh, really good addition, opponent. That's really good. Because then, like, it sacrifices your creature. You eventually just bring it back with the Honest Rutstein anyways. If Honest Rutstein is on the board, they dropped a Path of Peril. Oh, no, guys. Luckily, these don't have haste. Let's see what they see. On the Inner Sun, he's a Tiny Bones. Yeah, Golgari looking good, huh? Alright, Depopulate, and that is a multicolor, so they do draw off of this too. We do have the swing with the Restless Bivouac, which I suppose isn't too bad. They gain 6 on the Spider if they want. They can exile this. I think they would want to do that? No, they decide not to. They must plan on bringing it back at some point, right? They have the swing. They are tapped out. Oh no, not completely tapped out, actually. Cornucopia. That could have been a cut down, huh? Go ahead, bring that Steel Seraph right back. Yeah, they definitely have enough of a setup here. They got the mid-game thing going on. Well, at this point, it's late game, but like they have like a consistent engine. So they get to even gain just 1 off of the Cornucopia, huh? That's pretty neat. I like this card. I haven't looked at too many of the big scorecard. Well, I looked at all of them, obviously. Field of Ruin, my poor Bivouac, huh? I will grab a Plains. I looked at all the big scorecards, but I've kind of been overlooking a lot of them because they're all mythic, which is just completely ridiculous. Building with some of them, though, it's just, yeah, it's just really, really expensive. Unfortunately, right? Like we had an Izzet build like last week. And that Izzet build was just half mythics, thanks to the big score mostly. Pillage the Bog. Look at the top X cards of your library, where X is twice the number of lands you control. Put 1 of them into your hand, and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. Then it has plot for an additional 1. Interesting. Very interesting. Okay, well, we actually have a little bit of ramp here. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we won't have Virtue of Courage for the turn, but that's fine. I think full power Steel Seraph is still better than nothing here. We go 3 mana Steel Seraph, then go Virtue of Courage. Like, what's the Virtue of Courage actually going to do for us, right? We'll go ahead and let the opponent play this on out too. Well, I guess... Oh, who endures? I will take that action and we'll grab the Mountain. Oh, that was at the end, though, so we didn't get to play the Virtue of Courage. Darn. All right, all right. Well, that perfect example of waiting till the end of the opponent's turns. Either way, they got lethal on the board. We'll drop them the GGs. Brutal stuff, huh? Honestly, I don't know if that could have leaned towards us at all during that entire thing. Some exile. Ooh. Some exile removal. Trying to look at the opponent's grave here, but it takes a second sometimes for some reason. Some exile removal could have done pretty good against this deck, right? Yeah, Sunfall or that Farewell that made the honorable mentions. Hitting a Sunfall against those Dread Knights could have been pretty good, but at that point too, it was getting pretty late into that game, and at any point, the opponent was going to drop those really good engine pieces. The Inner Sun, I wasn't expecting that at all. If they didn't drop the Inner Sun, would we have had a chance? Probably not, right? I think they were still established enough, even without the Inner Sun. They had so many cards in hand. Even in that mid to late game, they didn't even have to bring the Dread Knights back. All right, we'll give this a shot. We have early creatures with the Virtue. We'll get the tapped land down first, and we're going to call white on it. And we have kind of early removal with Trumpeting Carnosaur too. All right, guys, I totally believe in the list. We can definitely do the thing. All right. We will also pass it on back to you, opponent. A couple Combat Threshers. I think the Combat Threshers, like, replacing themselves is actually really huge for this deck. Hidden Courtyard. Combat Thresher probably gets countered anyway. Maybe we'll start with the swing. I was going to say, we could get the tap land down. They got 3 mana open over there. I doubt it lands, especially since it replaces itself. Yeah, I'm just going to go tap land for the turn. Because what that does too is if we end up seeing more mana for like the next 3 turns in a row, at least we have utility on the Seat of the Empire. Passing it on back, we do see more mana, so that is good. That's 4 open. Start with the swing. They tap out for Wandering Emperor, then at least we get to play the Combat Thresher. Fading Hope, and they still have a ton of mana remaining. Well, I'd say we still attempt the Combat Thresher anyways. Especially since we have 2 of them too. Like, we got to start getting some of these counter spells out of the opponent's hand so we can play some of our late game stuff. Make Disappear number 1. I wonder if we try Virtue next turn. They missed their 5th mana. Play this as our 5th because we need to get closer to our 6th, right? We could play around to Make Disappear, have 2 open Combat Thresher. That's probably better. That's probably better than running right into another Make Disappear from a Virtue play. Could also just be a full power counterspell, or more removal at that point too. Oh, okay. So they stop the ability from happening, so no draw for the turn. At least we get a creature on the board, though. They find their 5th. Sunfall is likely available, guys. If a deck runs Sunfall, it is in their hand, and that's how we got to play that out usually. Sunken Citadel. We do have Hidden Courtyard. Alright, Sunken Citadel will call red this time. Alright, this is another good way. Like, Virtue of Loyalty isn't that bad of a counter for us. Like, we'd rather them counter this than one of our 6 mana cards in hand. So it's going to be a Disdainful Stroke. Okay, 2 counter spells out. I'll go ahead and not accept that trade, right? We'll save the Thresher for now, as it could very well do more later on. Especially if we see like another Virtue of Loyalty or something too. Pass it on back. We have 6 mana available. All of our 6 mana cards are beautiful. All of these could do a thing. It is probably Carnosaur, right? The Discover 5 helps us like just to get more onto the board in general. It lands. It is not another Tidebinder. It's a Quintorius Kand. Holy cow. So remember, guys, the whole point of the deck is that the -3 on Quintorius will no matter what hit one of our board wipes, which we don't need right now, but that's just noting that as that is like the main part of the deck. So we're just going to go for a 3-2. Unfortunately, it kind of feels like we're not going up against decks that really care about the board wipes, you know what I mean? Would have been sick to go up against Boros or something today. Get lost on Quintorius. We still have a whole bunch established on the board here, so that Sunfall is probably the next bet for the opponent. But the second they tap out, the second we can start, there's the Sunfall, guys. It's like I said, if the deck can be running it, it is likely in the opponent's hand. So now that they're tapped out, though, what do we want to do? We have a chance to get whatever we want onto the board. Carnosaur is actually a really good draw, isn't it? Also, just like going Eternal Wanderer, maybe we could just take the turn, go plus, get rid of the Incubator. Now, it's probably Carnosaur, right? The Discover 5 is much better than anything else we can do right now. Virtue of Courage, huh? All right, we'll go ahead and actually play it on the enchantment side. We do have Chandra in hand, so that could be a fun way to do damage that way. Unfortunately, Quintorius not on the board right now. Consider. They found their 6th mana. They go ahead and send a Tidebinder. Quintorius, wow. We could Discover 5 on the Hidden Courtyard too. With 5 open, the swing is probably not landing. When we do the Virtue of Courage, we're probably going to want to like start with a... I don't know what we want to start with, guys. Really don't. It's probably Quintorius then. But I'll start with the map token. Try to squeeze more damage through this way. Also, if we just plug a land into our hand, that's fine too. Like Restless Bivouac, that's totally fine. Actually really good against what we're up against right now. Swing for 7 potentially. See if a Wandering Emperor comes down. They don't even power up the Incubator, which tells me that they're saving something for sure here. I'd say it's worth the risk with the Quintorius. Yeah, now when you cast things from exile, number 1, you don't want to Discover in here unless you're wiping the board. Number 2, when you cast things from exile, Quintorius deals 2 damage to each opponent and you gain 2 life, and that works with the Virtue of Courage. Where, oh, GG opponent, I can't believe it, guys. There wasn't a second Sunfall. They didn't counter the Quintorius. Like, that was kind of crazy. I want to see the opponent's hand really, really bad. I'd say we probably got a little lucky. Generally speaking, the control decks that I've been up against have really just had it, man. And I mean like having everything that they need all the time, regardless of the deck that I'm running too. So I really would have loved to see the opponent's hand. Very happy that we got that victory. We got to see a lot of the sustainability of this deck and what the deck is capable of in that mid to late game too. So that was nice. Like, you know, we weren't up against a similar deck that was also having a lot of sustainability for that mid to late game too. And so we got to see how we were starting to generate value past that. But again, luckily, we just were able to get around some counter spells there too, where we only ran into, what, 2 counter spells that game? That's not that bad. Here's the deck list again, guys. This was pretty cool, right? First of all, it's a really neat concept. So thank you again for the suggestion over in the Discord. Yeah, really neat, really fun concept overall. Hopefully the changes I made to the list were acceptable and worthy of the deck list. I hope you enjoyed the changes. Let's see here, guys. Let's see here. That's everything that we needed to rearrange, right? So I really liked the top end. I really liked this. I don't even think there's much to change here. Without anything to do on your turn 1, you are looking to get your tap land down on that turn 1. So we're looking at Hidden Volcano, Hidden Courtyard, Sunken Citadel, the caves, right? You want to get your tap land down turn 1. And that could also mean Restless Bivouac too, of course, and on turn 1, Sundown Pass. And you're not getting too punished for the tap lands in this deck. You do all that on turn 1. There's going to be plenty of moments. First of all, this is a lot of untapped land too, so turn 2, you could easily keep open the Virtues Adventure as well. Both of the Virtues and their adventures, right? Didn't use the Trumpeting Carnosaur as removal today, but it really showcased just how powerful it can be as a creature, as that Discover 5 is just disgusting, dude. And we are discovering really powerful things between Quintorius and Mightstone Weakstone too. Not a bad one to hit at all. And then also, of course, Virtues are both 5 as well. So you are discovering very powerful things when you play Trumpeting Carnosaur. Once the Virtue of Courage is established, whenever a source you control deals non-combat damage to an opponent, so the non-combat damage could be between Quintorius, Virtue's Adventure side, and of course, Chandra Hope's Beacon too. So between the 3 Depopulates and the 3 No Witnesses, the 6 total board wipes is totally fine, especially when you're counting Eternal Wanderer as a top-end board wipe too with the -4. I think that all that makes a lot of sense, right? And then, of course, yeah, even if you're not drawing them, you're hitting them out of the deck with the -3 on the Quintorius. Now, depending on where the meta is going to land and where it ends up settling, if we start seeing more of that Golgari, for example, that looked really good. That kind of felt like it needed an exile. So like that Farewell that was in the sideboard, or if you really favor Sunfall, both Farewell and Sunfall are nightmare cards for me, man. Like I like playing creatures. I play a lot of creature decks, you know that. So like both of those cards, just absolute nightmares. And every now and then I do end up playing with them too, but oh buddy, if I can avoid playing with them, then I do. I thought that this deck would be one of those decks where we could have easily avoided that since we still had so many board wipes. Who would have thought that just exiling things really, really matters? Is there anything else that's noteworthy of the deck? It's a pretty simple concept overall, and we do see a lot of these cards in general. Is there anything else noteworthy, actually? I don't think so. Wait, there is something noteworthy. We don't have any new cards in here, do we? Well, hey, it was still worthwhile, I would say. Still really cool suggestion from the Discord. Bro, yeah, we don't have anything from the new set. Well, I hope that's fine with everybody. Yeah, no, I mean, it's fine with me. I mean, obviously, I sat down to play it. It is definitely a cool enough concept. Now that I'm thinking about it, though, I mean, was there realistically anything that we could have added from the new set for this? Because no matter what, you want to hit a board wipe. That was like the main concept. You want to hit the board wipe on the -3 Discover 4. Was there anything that gets around that? So number 1, we would be looking at, because spree cards would get picked up, right? Because spree is like an extra cost. So we'd want to look at our 5, 6, and 7s from the new set. Terror of the Peaks could have been cool, but probably not. Probably not for this one. I guess, yeah, a little bit. It would have been cool, but probably just would have made the deck a little bit clunkier. I'm not sure. You guys let me know. I'm not seeing too much here that we could have added from the new set. Calamity? No, probably not. Yeah, no, well, definitely not enough creatures, although it would have been pretty cool to copy like a Trumpeting Carnosaur. Probably not, though. Is there anything? Wait, I know. I know something that could have made it, right? The land. At least the Inspiring Vantage could have been something to consider instead of the Battlefield Forge. We weren't taking too much damage from the Battlefield Forge, and with all the other dual land too, I think that what would have ended up happening is we get to that mid game and then we start top decking these Vantages, and that would have just been pretty bad. Other than that, is there any other land that could have been cool for this one? Yeah, let me know in the comments. It's funny that I'm looking at this after recording. Nothing from the new set. And yeah, I guess definitely let me know in the comments too. if that even matters to you guys. I am very curious. I guess as long as we're still having fun, then it doesn't really matter. Excuse me, guys. Hey, make sure you check out that description where we got that Discord link as well as that Patreon link too, if you're interested in supporting the channel that way. Yeah, the meta's been very brutal. I've been having a lot of tough uphill battles. Last week, we actually got some really great victories in, but I don't even know if it was the decks or if we just got a little lucky, honestly, because everything that I've been going up against has just been really strong, and a lot of the jank that we've been bringing to the table just hasn't been cutting it, huh? Okay, guys. I was trying to think if there's anything else I wanted to say. Yeah, Quintorius Kand is like one of those planeswalkers, man. It's just waiting for the right list. I think there's just so much value packed onto Kand here, too. And then the -6 shouldn't be unheard of to get to. Exile any number of target cards from your graveyard, and then you add a red source for each card exiled this way, and then you can play those cards this turn. That's pretty good, especially if you're letting Quintorius survive the round. With playing those cards for the turn, that does count the adventure side of things, right? Like, yeah, that should, because you may cast it as an adventure. But yeah, you should still have a decent amount of mana to do some extra things as well. All right, guys. Anyways, hey, I will see you in the next video.